Welcome to Amino, the game of ants. In Amino, you're taken into the amazing microcosm of these tiny insects. You explore a labyrinth of pathways, decide where to put down your anthill, look for resources, take them home into your anthill, fight other ants for these resources, build bridges to get to places where you couldn't get otherwise, grow wings to fly away, and many more things. The first ant that collects resources worth 7 points wins. Let's have a look, shall we? In this example game, 3 players compete. Grey, yellow and blue. Each player has a little ant, 2 anthills, 2 bridges and 2 blockages, and starts with a single triangular pathway card. Also, each player has a storage chamber in which to put the resources transported home into the anthill. Each resource is worth different amount of points for each player. So while a flower is very interesting for grey, it's very uninteresting for blue. Let's start the first turn. Grey goes first. He decides to take 4 triangular pathway cards, looks at them and puts down this one to elongate the pathway. Then he decides to put down his anthill together with a new card here, and then he looks for resources. Takes this one, takes one at random, puts it here, uses his starting card for another one, puts it here, and you can see he has completely blocked any access to his pathway, so it's completely dominated by him. So now he moves his ant to the very valuable flower resource. Because he put down these resources this turn, he cannot transport them in the very same turn. So that's his turn, and it's now on yellow. He decides to take also 4 triangular pathway cards, looks at them and decides to put down his anthill, like so, and then to look for some resources. Puts down 2 to keep the minimum distance to new resources, and takes resources at random and puts it here. Oh, that's nice. It's 3 points for yellow. Goes with his ant here, puts it on the back and cannot transport the resource because he just put it down. So that's it for yellow's turn. Now it's blue's turn. Blue decides to take a card instead of triangular pathways, looks secretly at it, and I will reveal it to you. It's a transport card. So he puts it down here, hidden, and uses his starting card to put down his anthill here. Then he decides to walk over here to the yellow ant because he also likes the grub resource and fights the yellow ant for it. Yellow is attacked and wants to defend its resource. So behind his bag, yellow hides the resource in one of his hands and puts them both forward. So now blue tries to guess in which hand the resource is hidden. That's bad luck for yellow. Blue won. So blue, as we remember, got the transport card and now is allowed to throw not just 1 die but 2 dice to determine how far his ant can transport the resource. Wow, that's a maximum of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's already enough, and the grub is home in blue's anthill. Well, that's it for blue. not much more this turn. It's now on Gray again, second turn. He decides to try and get his resource into his anthill, and for that he needs to throw a die to see how far he can transport the resource. That's a 3, ideal. 1, 2, 3, and he's got the flower, which is very valuable to him, home. So now he moves the ant again to load up the grub, but because he already transported one resource this turn, he cannot transport another. He hasn't taken any card or triangles yet, so that's why he takes a card. It's Revenge. That will defend him against future attacks. So he guards the card well, and it's now Yellow's turn again. And he decides to take also a card. A bridge. That comes in very handy. Yellow decides to immediately use the bridge and puts down one of his bridges, like so, to connect these two unconnected pathways. Now his ant can cross this gap and attack Gray. Gray wants to defend the tasty grub against Yellow, and again behind his back hides the grub in one of his hands, puts both fists forward to make Yellow choose one. Oh, that's bad luck. But we remember Gray had the revenge card and plays it, so this fight is nullified and repeated. Again, Gray hides the resource behind his back and puts them forth. He couldn't cheat Yellow. So even though he used the revenge card, Yellow won. It's still Yellow's turn, and that's why Yellow throws the die to see how far he can transport the resource. That's a 3. Comes in very handy. 1, 2, 3, and the grub is home. 3 points for Yellow. Before Yellow finishes his turn, he decides to use his last triangular pathway to put down another resource for his next turn. Puts it down here. It's a fungus, mushroom. Yellow walks over here and puts it on the back of his ant. So it's now on Blue. Blue decides to take a card again. It's a blockage. He hides it here for later use and decides to fight Yellow for the tasty mushroom. So again, Yellow wants to defend the mushroom. Behind his back, hides it in one fist and puts both forward to choose. Wow, didn't defend that one. So Blue won the resource and wants to transport it into his anthill. Throws a die. 3, that's 1, 2, 3. It's 1 short. Well, that's a good opportunity to use the blockage. Blue plays his card and puts down the blockage here. So Yellow cannot get over this triangle to attack Blue next turn. That gives him plenty of time to try again to get home the resource safely. And there you have it. That's Amino, the game of ants. Every game of Amino is different because you have always a different labyrinth of pathways and you have so many options of using your ant cards. And there's a plethora of different strategies you can apply. So we hope you liked it and are interested. Thank you very much. Bye bye.